Everyone, welcome to the stream. Let's get into it. I mean, S&P shorts yesterday were very nice. It just really didn't have any conviction. It really didn't want to follow through with the move that low down. We've now, subsequently overnight and into London session, came into somewhat of a a premium market, and then began to pull low. And it's almost looking like, how I mentioned before, it looks similar here. Stacking of liquidity, future price moves lower, and to fuel that downside momentum, and that's potentially what we're seeing. S&P short term, yes, we put in all-time highs, and it's super hard to know when the market's going to turn around, but we can pick up subtle cues, and in this sense, we're seeing somewhat of a little pullback here, lower lows, lower highs on the 4-hour time frame. So super simple, following the trend in terms of 4-hour bearish. And we can pull it back slightly here. So for those who don't use the 15-minute, the lower time frame, it really is up to you. It depends on your schedule. The concepts are exactly the same regardless if they're 15-minute or 1 minute. It doesn't really matter. So yeah. Essentially, as I mentioned yesterday on the stream, we was looking at this sort of price action here on S&P, and it's the internal price action of this bearish leg. Yes, we went bullish slightly here. You can see B1, B2, induce, again, push higher, and then it fails to do so. Typical expansive move higher, normally driven by news. Gets people involved into the market, and then, well, you know, you're on the wrong side. It's almost like a trap, if you like, for these such bullish moves, and typically tend to be from news. Yeah, bullish leg here, and then we continued the bearish nature, and it just followed through with bearish momentum anyway. And we were stuck inside this range for pretty much the whole of Tuesday, London and New York. Subsequently now it's just broken out of that and came into a premium market. But looking at this and what I mentioned yesterday, this internal price action, see it kind of messing around for a bit, comes into New York session. I don't hit S&P in London. New York session here is defined by this box. I'm always going to wait for New York open. We see liquidation occurs and it pushes lower. Now here would have been quite the nice entry candle. It would have been pretty nice, although if I'm entering here, this would have been somewhat of a nice signal to enter because the bodies were closing lower and lower. But look how big that wick is. For example, if you entered here, stop loss up here to the lows, risk to reward, yeah, it's just not there. Yeah. So New York opens, continues big expansion to the upside, and like I was saying on the stream, even looking at the 1 minute price action, it didn't really give any conviction to push lower. There was no signs of bearish sort of shifting after it shifted bullish. It kind of tried to go, and then here, this is where the real settlement occurs. Just around 4 p.m. UK time. So on the stream yesterday, literally called this out. These highs were likely to get run, and that event happens. Now, the actual entry candle didn't really form until probably, for me, it was a good few candles. This one here, the 5 p.m. candle, it's nice closures there, nice entry candle. And here, if you're not using the 1 minute, this would have been your entry point. Stop loss up here, TP down here, 1 to 2-ish, nothing crazy. And then here, when it got to the lows, was break even, and I took off 1 contract. I was holding 2 contracts on this trade, and just took off 1. So yeah, entry here. This is still 15-minute. No. There you go. So stop loss move to break even, and also remove 1 contract here. And then yeah, it reversed and took me the rest for break even. It was very close, very close there. But took me for break even for the remaining 1 contract. And the bullish nature continues. We broke out of the range, as you can see here. Putting in range highs, range lows. It pushes significantly higher again. Yeah. Yeah, and pushing higher. It's kind of coming into London here. And when we get into that premium market, mitigations here occur. So let's just strip it down and analyze this particular price action here and how we know that this is going to follow through with bearish momentum. The fact it was in London, I wasn't really expecting it to do this, but yeah. So we expansive move higher, gets people induced into the market. Stacking of lows occur. Big push down, break structure, small liquidation, then this liquidates the remainder. Now we then see a push higher, in some sense a corrective nature, into, and if we're looking at this range high to low, pushes into the premium market and into a known area that potentially we could be looking for some mitigation or liquidation, kind of around the 552 or the 5544 as a zone. If it comes into there, gives particular entry candles or lower time frame confirmations, then yeah, good for entries. And even look here, given that stacking of liquidity, it's that squeezing of price action, getting super tight. Then we see big push lower, and you can see here it kind of stayed within this range. I mean, I could have expected it to take out the 5522, but coming into London session, there was no real sell opportunities. Probably here, actually, to be fair, would have been quite a nice one on the 15-minute. If you took that, I was not going to be taking that because I don't trade S&P in New York anyway. Sorry, in London anyway. So yeah, nice sort of price action here in terms of when in a bearish market, when in a sell scenario, liquidation event gets buyers into the market, targets said buyers, remitigation occurs, and then continues lower. I mean, it's super simple stuff. And to strip it back is essentially just trend. You're following trend here. Bullish here, but underlying market on the 4 hour is bearish. Yeah. This is where we can capitalize on those bearish moves. And then coming into New York, I think it opens just on these next candles, seeing some quite bullish nature here. So looking for sells myself. Stuck within the range, bearish range. Looking for 5538. That'd be nice. 5538 would be good. Sells. So yeah, waiting game for sure. Just a recap actually. Let's look at this the entry yesterday. Now, in terms of lower time frame entries, it kind of wasn't really clear. We see the structure forming, push higher, stays contained, pushes lower, and the real entry real signals didn't really come into play here. Entry here potentially, but it would have been taken for a break even. But that is a very, I'd say, high risk one. You know, we're not really seeing any liquidations here of anything. So yeah, just a little bit of a higher risk 1 minute entry. It's quite low down in the move as well. Whereas the 15-minute candle was more than enough. Hey, how's it going? Good to see some familiar faces in the stream. Yeah, just I think I just broke that down, Smithy, regarding the entries here. Shorts. 5538's what I'm aiming for. Push up there, liquidation, see how it goes. Will that happen in the next couple of hours? Or potentially, could see price, you know, kind of do something like this. Maybe, I mean, probably looking like tomorrow, I'd say. Ish. The entry here might happen at midnight UK time, so yeah. We are Wednesday as well, so midweek. This could be the high of the week. Straight back up into it. Potentially Thursday mitigation, continuation of the current move and the underlying 4-hour trend. Yeah, 100%. The key figures, key levels, key numbers. Like, which one was it on? It might have been on dollar index. It literally stopped at. Let me just show you this. The low. It is basically stopped at 104. Yeah, so key levels, 100% come into play, and that's super useful to know. Round figures, super simple. Yeah, I'm not doing anything complex. If you don't want to, you don't have to go down to the 1 minute. Like I said yesterday, the 1 minute is great for like timing, and you kind of get a zoomed in look of what's going on. But the 15-minute candles tell you everything anyway. Hey, Walter, how's it going? Yes. Yeah, NQ actually. NQ. I mentioned buys yesterday, and that was some good ass buys yesterday. Even if you had the 15-minute entry candle here, waited for it to pull back and then took the buy, another entry here, yeah, 615, liquidation, gone. You know, there's two entries potentially here on NQ. Counter 4-hour, however, it's following the 15-minute sort of momentum here. And like I said yesterday, these indices always want to go up. So even though we're in a 4-hour bearish pullback, yes, when we get bearish 15-minute alignment, it's going to be favorable to take the shorts, like it is on ES at the minute, on S&P. However, you know, when we're trending on the 15-minute intraday on one of these indexes, you know, we can capitalize on that. The buys in New York session probably, when New York opens here, it would have been tight to get in that buy, I think. It probably would have moved pretty quick. Plot some of this out. Following the trend. And then we push lower and it's still bullish. Like the S&P, like the ES, we're still trading within this 4-hour sort of dealing range here. And we're in a premium market, so yeah, we could see lower prices. It will give us 15-minute confirmation of bearish moves, but like I said, I probably wouldn't take any shorts here. This is still quite bullish. I would want to see some sort of commitment to the downside and then liquidation and mitigation potentially but that probably won't happen this session. To be fair, it depends on my schedule. Like the minute I tend to favor, in terms of like trading around sessions, I tend to favor New York session. It fits my schedule quite nicely. Although I can trade both, but I tend to, if I want to hit London session, I'm going to favor sort of DAX. If I'm looking at indices, I'm going to favor DAX for sure. I'm not probably going to be looking at trades on ES or NQ in London session. I'd rather wait until New York session. But for my schedule, yeah, New York session tends to be favorable for me at the minute. What's going on in the 1 minute? I mean, we could see some nice 1 minute momentum here. Potentially could happen. Kind of pushing lower here, but interesting to see if we get any commitment. And for this 15 minute, if this, for example, was a liquidation event, settlement event, then we'd be looking for confirmation candles, and for it to do that, it's got to get down to like the 5524 and close below that. So it's kind of, yeah, is it worth the risk to reward taking the short all the way down here? Probably not. That's why I said I'm waiting for 5538. Simple stuff. It can push lower, can do whatever it wants to do, liquidation, and then I'll potentially take shorts, because like here, that would be a much better opportunity. For example, maybe 7 points or 8 or whatever. I mean, you could do 10 if you wanted to. TP at the lows. Even if you go for like an 8, it's still more than a 1 to 3. And if you go for a 10, it's still worth it. It's still over 2. So that's what I'm waiting for. Gold is somewhat dying. I don't know how many of you guys trade gold in here. Been in a bearish pullback for quite some time now. It's literally stuck between here. It's stuck between this dealing range, I'd say 2,300 ish, and the 2,400. So it's a $100 dealing range for gold. Do let me know in the chat if the lag is less than yesterday. I had a few issues with the stream. It seems to be a lot smoother. So yeah, just let me know. I'll be rewatching it over anyway, just to see that there's not too much lag, and it's pretty good. But do let me know in the chat. Yeah, gold, B1s, B2s, 4-hour bearish, seeing that sort of pullback, similar to what we saw here at the start of December last year, and that didn't really break out of this range. It stayed contained within this range for 3 months, and it's probably going to do the same. 3-month consolidation, expansion, breakout. Seeing here, consolidation, potentially. So if we do it in terms of time, 90 days probably puts us around the start of July. Potentially, from a timing point of view, potentially could see a breakout of the range. But we're at all-time highs, similar to S&P. All-time highs, highest it's ever been. Was peaked. We're seeing a sort of pullback here, and I could easily see it pulling back into, maybe even the 5150. You could see some liquidations here, but it kind of rebalances around previous sort of resistance that it couldn't break before. Like, see here, we've got like 2150. It struggled to go above that. We break out of it. We come back in. Mitigation pushes higher. So we could see mitigation or even liquidation of that. Around the 5150 would be quite nice to see. That is some way to go for sure. But this first instance of bearish nature is showing its hand. So we'll see. And it's kind of playing out like, yeah, we're still within this range. We see a little rebalance here, pushes lower, liquidation events occur, mitigation, and now it's really starting to show some bearish nature. I mean, this started last Friday. Big bearish candle, another one. Trying to mess around for a bit. It's almost like a flag, like a bear flag almost. But you see that? Look, I mean, it's crazy to see these things, but like this, like a bear flag. See this? So like you get. I mean, most strategies work typically. I'm not too sure about bear flags, but. So like this here, look at this. So big bearish. If we forget anything, just forget all of this stuff here that I've done. Big impulsive push lower. This is kind of, this price action is almost this on a higher time frame. Big impulsive lower. And then here, coming into Asia session, it's almost going to induce you to go short. Stop loss above here. Yeah, I don't know, like that or something. Target the lows or even target down here. You probably wouldn't target that. I mean, you'd be targeting the lows. So yeah, I mean, it's fine. But the way I see it, these highs are going to get run, and we'll probably see a mitigation and then continuation. Like that. Yeah. Liquidation occurs. Now we've got enough fuel to drive future price moves. And that's what we're seeing here. That's how I like to look at the market now. It makes sense to me. And I can frame trade ideas around that. Keep it simple. That's good. I'm glad that the stream is smoother. Yeah, it was rough yesterday. So apologies. See, like even this kind of hurt. Like I said, we're back on S&P here. Even if we did see liquidation event occur, which we haven't yet, it'd be a lower time frame entry, but not on the 15-minute. It struggled to close below 5524, like I've just said, so no real conviction there yet. Yeah, like I said, this sort of level here, I'll be looking for. Nope. Like so, potentially, I'll keep that on there. This is what I'm looking for. And I'm basically going to wait for that. Super simple. Nothing crazy. Any questions, do pop them in the chat there. Or you can ask me on Instagram. Either or. Yeah, gold is a interesting one. Super popular inside Top Funder. You know, we've got so much data now. It allows us to, you know, kind of know what works and frame trade ideas around that. You know, that's the real power, data. Did see a few guys take the short actually on S&P yesterday. It's good to see. They can flick on over to EU, see what that's doing. Like I predicted yesterday, in line with the dollar index, those that were on the stream yesterday, it's playing out exactly how, you know, we were talking about it. We're seeing somewhat of a bullish market here, which was already known. We're already in a bullish market here, and calling out the 388. You know, we needed to maintain that low for it to stay within a bullish market, and that's exactly what it's done. We've stayed in that and shifted back into a bullish market. So if we're framing trades on EU, we know that sells are going to be more favorable. They're going to be in line with the underlying market structure or market momentum and whatnot. So yeah, it's been good to see that playing out. So EU, yeah, bearish, super simple. Bearish nature was confirmed here. Tries to go higher. Look how, you know, inducing that is. It gets people involved. Bam. No, thank you. Let's clean this up a little bit. Get a bit messy. Yeah. Bearish nature. Sells are favorable for sure on EU. Lovely entry yesterday, London session, for those that did take it. And this is where we're at. So bearish 4-hour, bearish 15 minutes, super simple. EU's quite range bound at the minute, so realistically I'm not going to be looking for buys. It'll be sells in alignment with the 4-hour nature, with the 15-minute nature. Quite a hard question there, because like you never really know how long a trade is going to last, but realistically, from what I'm seeing in the minute, it's probably no more than 4 hours if I'm just looking at New York session. But again, it could be 4 hours, it could be 40 hours, and it doesn't really concern me. I'm not really that bothered. So not really something I'm too concerned about. So yeah, if we see a run up, you know, 107.4 potentially, could see some nice shorts if we get entry candles presenting themselves. But my sessions for EU are going to end shortly, so it's probably not going to set up if I was to look for a short on EU anyway, which I won't be doing. I'm going to be focusing on the shorts on ES here. Wait and see what happens. Looking very bullish, NQ is. You can see here, like, if we're just looking at this dealing range and where we're at on the 4-hour, and from a pricing point of view and a key level point of view, yeah. See this here? Quite an impulsive push higher. We see sort of that ascending nature, big inducement to get people into the market, and it pushes lower. Liquidation events occur. We push back into a discounted market, and then bam, just take off straight away. But that's framed around what? It's framed around key session timings, and it's framed around key levels. Like it almost went by to the dot 19,900. You know, so there's patterns, there's clues left by the charts, by the price, and by time. Yeah, it's looking very bullish. Really struggled to close below, even on the 1 minute time frame, the 19,955. Could see a run up here. I mean, this is very bullish. 15 minutes still bullish. Could see a nice entry here for a long target the, I don't know, 2070 maybe. Kind of want to wait for 1 minute entry candle to present. Stop loss kind of down here. Putting TP up here. 1 to 136. Again, it's probably going to be tight, even if you're looking for a buy here. Because if you want to be super safe and put your stop loss down here, like 1-to-1, not really worth it. You kind of have to put your stop loss down here, and it's just a little bit too high risk for myself. I want to favour putting my stop loss down here. TP, I mean, I definitely want to take a contract off at the 2070 maybe. Maybe even just a full hard TP there. If you're looking for longs, but yeah. Risk to reward is just not there. Like, for example, if we was getting this price action a little bit lower down, like for example, like down here, bit of a better priced area, and you could safely put our stop loss down here, then yeah, this would be really nice for some buys. But when it gets down super close here, and we're toying with the 19,900 level, you know, the 15 minutes going to go bearish anyway, so yeah, something to be mindful of. Still waiting for those ES sells. Like I said, even if you sold from here, which I don't advise you do, you put your stop loss here. Look at this, like 1-to-1, and your stop loss isn't really in a safe place. For me, I'm not going to be taking that. This is what I want. I want something like up here, a bit of a tighter stop loss, say 10 points. Target the lows. Yeah, 2.5, perfect. So that's what I'm waiting for. I think I'll end the stream there. It's probably been about half an hour now. I like to keep it to half an hour. So like those 2-3 hour streams, ain't no one got time for those. No, I'll end the stream there. It's been good chatting, guys. As always, any questions, drop them in the comments below or on Instagram, either or, and I will see you all tomorrow at 3 PM UK time. So thanks, guys. See you later.